Okay, so let's talk about infrastructure. Now, you're probably thinking of concrete, steel, bridges and roads. But we're going to talk about something way more fundamental for the world we live in today. We're about to dive into a living, intelligent foundation, one that's designed specifically for the massive challenges and the incredible opportunities of our time.
So, who are we? At T.L Tedford Enterprises, we've spent over a decade working on technologies that really serve humanity. I'm talking about enhancing safety, guaranteeing connectivity, and ultimately preserving life. That mission, that's the DNA of everything you're about to see.
Let's just start with a really fundamental question. Every single day, you and I, we place our trust in these incredibly complex systems for everything. For talking to each other, for getting around, for our safety. But what happens when those systems just stop working?
Well, the hard truth is our entire digital world is built on a surprisingly fragile foundation. It's centralized. That means one single point of failure, a hurricane, a jammed satellite signal, or even just too many people online at once can set off a chain reaction. It's a domino effect that puts lives and entire economies at risk. We've built a 21st century world, but we're running it on 20th century architecture.
And that is the exact problem we were determined to solve. We knew that just patching the old system wasn't going to cut it. So we built an entirely new foundation, right from the ground up. We call it the Living Ground Mesh, and it was born from one single mission: to create universal safety and resilience for every single person, everywhere.
Our whole philosophy is really simple, and this quote just nails it. The Tedford Mesh is a humanitarian tool, period. Its purpose is to spread capability out, to empower people and communities, and to preserve life, not to build some new system of control or concentrate power.
All right, so how does this thing actually work? The best way to think about the Tedford Mesh is like an intelligent sensing fabric that's laid right over the planet. It's almost like a digital nervous system that can feel, process, and react to what's happening in the real world in real time.
At the heart of this nervous system is something called the Tedford node. Now, each node is its own little self-contained unit of intelligence. It's totally autonomous, and it works at the edge, which just means it's right there where the action is. And crucially, get this, these nodes don't rely on the power grid. They're actually powered by the tiny ambient vibrations of the Earth itself. That means you can put them anywhere, and they'll just keep working. When you connect them, they form this amazing self-healing mesh.
Each one of these nodes is a little powerhouse. It's constantly sensing its environment. It can calculate the risk of a potential collision in milliseconds, and it shoots out immediate alerts. Then, it shares that hazard data completely anonymously, by the way, with the rest of the mesh, which makes the entire system smarter. And maybe the most important part, these nodes are built to survive. If the GPS goes down or cell service is out, they don't care. They just keep right on working.
So how is it so reliable? It all comes down to this really powerful closed-loop system. First, we use quantum technology to sense the world with unbelievable precision. Then, the mesh shares that data, adding real-world context from thousands of other nodes. And finally, an AI brain constantly validates all that information, spots any errors, and actually makes the whole system smarter and more accurate with every single cycle.
Now, I know this might sound a little like science fiction, but the core principles behind our architecture, they aren't just a theory anymore. In fact, the world's most advanced defense organizations are already proving that this is the future of critical infrastructure.
Just take a look at this recent statement from a Royal Navy commander. He's talking about building systems that are modular and survivable. He is, word for word, describing the exact operational need that the Tedford Mesh was built from the ground up to solve.
The Eagle's Eye trial didn't actually use our technology. And you know what? That's what makes it such powerful validation for us. A major global power independently proved that the future of their critical operations depends on decentralized, self-healing networks. They prove the concept, we've already built the infrastructure.
So let's put it side by side. The Royal Navy's trial was a brilliant tactical demonstration, no question. But the Tedford Mesh takes that exact same validated concept and scales it up to a national, even global level. We're not just connecting a few assets for one mission. We're building a permanent, multi-domain backbone for an entire country.
So what does a world built on this new foundation actually look like? What really becomes possible when you have a truly resilient, intelligent infrastructure? Let's talk about that. For starters, what if we could make mid-air collisions a thing of the past? And I mean for everything, from a huge jumbo jet to a small private helicopter, or even a delivery drone.
With every aircraft sharing its exact position through the mesh, a local node could see a risk and alert pilots in milliseconds, way before our traditional systems would even see a problem.
Or how about this? Imagine autonomous vehicles that work everywhere, not just in perfectly mapped out cities. I'm talking about vehicles that can navigate through a forest, or a canyon, or a combat zone where GPS is denied, and do it with total confidence. Why? Because they're getting their location and sensing hazards from the mesh, a system that's far more reliable and precise than any single sensor on a car. Now think about what this means for global shipping, for managing satellites, for national defense. With the mesh extending over and even under the oceans, swarms of autonomous drones could coordinate complex missions without a central commander. Cargo ships could navigate more safely and efficiently, even if they're cut off from vulnerable satellite links. The boost in productivity here is just astronomical.
And this brings us right back to our core mission. When a hurricane hits or an earthquake strikes, what's the first thing that fails? Communication. With the mesh, first responders would have instant connectivity. Remote villages that are totally off the grid could have the same baseline of safety and communication as a major city. This is about saving lives. It's about connecting humanity.
Now, a system this powerful, it naturally brings up questions about privacy. And we knew that from day one. So we designed the Tedford Mesh to be the absolute opposite of a Big Brother surveillance system. There is no central database collecting your information. All the hazard data is anonymized, and the really important calculations happen locally, on the node itself. It's a system designed to empower you, not to track you.
And for our partners in national security, we designed this system to be inherently survivable. The mesh is built to withstand critical threats, like a large-scale electromagnetic pulse, an EMP, or a total denial of GPS. Because it's decentralized and it powers itself, it just keeps working when all the other systems go dark. Look, the systems our world relies on, they were built for a simpler time. They're just fundamentally not equipped for the kinds of challenges we face today. So the real question is, isn't it time we built an infrastructure that's truly designed to last?